Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Not only was it absolute Karchenkov, Arizona just beat Houston at their own damn game.
Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats postgame show, live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. And what a win for the Arizona Wildcats, number 4 team in the country, taking down the number 2 Houston Cougars on the road in what could be a Big 12 conference title race decider. What a massive, massive victory by the Arizona Wildcats. Tommy Lloyd, masterclass, absolute Karchenkov, you name it. This game had it. Kevin and I can't wait to break it down. I'm Damon Fairall. That is my guy, Kevin Thomas. And of course, we are sponsored by our friends over at Branded Bills. Head on over to brandedbills.com. Use promo code PHNX or BBPHNX and get yourself 15% off your first order over at brandedbills.com. They have the absolute best Arizona Wildcats headgear in the game. You got to check out that campus collection for yourself. But man, Kevin, we were talking about in the pregame show just what a huge victory this would be. Finally get that Kelvin Sampson boogeyman off your back a little bit. Tommy Lloyd gets his first W against Kelvin Sampson, and Arizona takes sole possession of the Big 12 Conference, first place. How are we feeling, Mr. Kevin Thomas?
Nah, let's not mess around. Like, we know we know what we just witnessed. Like, Arizona just cemented themselves as what should be the national title favorite. I don't give a damn what your favorite media member says. And I'm not saying it's a crazy ravine between the multiple teams, but Arizona should be at the top of everybody's list. Flat out, period. They go in to Kelvin Sampson's house where no one beats Kelvin Sampson. Only one team has done that prior to today since they joined the Big 12. And now Arizona has joined that very elite club of just 2 teams, right? You beat Kelvin Sampson's Houston team, who's coming off a loss in a game where they really need it for the Big 12 title hopes, on their own home court. But most importantly, you did it at their game, showing that this is not the Arizona teams of old that played Houston and were unable to overcome the grit, unable to overcome the environment in some cases, but most importantly, unable to overcome the tough, hard-nosed defense, the suffocating style that Kelvin Sampson teams like to play. Arizona said, you know what? We don't got Peat. You know what? We don't got Dwayne Aristode. You know what we do have? Some of the best damn defenders in the country. And today, we're going to prove that on a national stage when everybody's talking about Michigan Duke. Oh my goodness, this is a Final Four quality matchup. Well, Arizona is a national champion quality team. Can we agree on that? Today, Anthony Dell'Orso, someone said in the chat, he should take a bow and maybe an ice bath as well. Karchenkov should take a
my
bow.
Ankle.
Man, I'll give them both. I'll go around. I'll be on crutches around Phoenix. But yeah, no, this was an incredible win. I think it was a very solidifying, vindicating win for those of us like myself who, even during this game, are saying, man, they're proving a lot right now. Like this, like win or lose. Because at that point, it was 7 minutes left when you and I were having that conversation out there. Like, win or lose, I'm telling Damon, like, I think this is my national champion favorite for sure. Right? This whole year, it's been, they could be the national title favorites, but they're certainly a Final Four quality team. They're certainly in that mix, and you could take them over, and we could argue it all day. Today, I think they proved that they are the ones to be reckoned with. No Peat, no Dwayne Aristode on the road against a team that does not lose at home, against a team that needs this game with the Big 12 title on the line, and you get a damn near perfect performance. Not really, but in all the ways that it could have been, it feels like a perfect performance for this Arizona team.
It's the perfect way that you would have drawn up the blueprint for how this game would have gone. And Kevin, we talked about a lot of different factors in our pregame show of how we thought Arizona could win this one. And we'll get into those and talk about kind of how we fared in our kind of pregame predictions there. But first off, I want to shout out all the great support we got in the chat right now. Shout out Norin Rudin, $9.99. Congrats, Cats. Impressed how the Cats closed this game. Norin, don't you think we've forgotten about what we owe you, brother? We are currently drawing up the blueprints ourselves for our 24-hour stream that we will be doing in the very near future. So be on the lookout for more announcements going on around that. But we owe Norin quite a bit of things, checklists that we have to mark off there, Kevin. And then we got Big Red 6, $10. This win started on Wednesday. Coach had JB bringing that ball up slow on purpose. They knew what was coming today, and they needed their legs for 40-minute slugfest. Big 12 is Wildcat country now. Absolutely love it, Big Red 6. And yeah, it's Arizona's conference to lose here in the final 4 games stretch of this season that Arizona has left. But also shout out everybody else here in the chat. We got Deborah, of course, a supporting club member, White Burrito, Sports Savant talking about the Braden Burries flu game. What up, Kobe? What up, David Rosen saying that Arizona is the best team in the country. I liked a comment from Andrew as well in there, Kevin, that he put in there that I'd like to highlight. The deepest 8-man rotation turned 6-man rotation in college basketball history. No doubt about it, Andrew, because it truly felt like, you had, and I know Evan and CD are getting some minutes in this game, but like this 6-man rotation, I know that they're probably tired, and there were portions where, like Fran Fraschilla mentioned, that you could see them getting a little bit tired before half, but I really do think that this shorthanded rotation deserves just insane amounts of credit for how they went out there and executed the game plan in this one. And then we got June Thomas, Kevin's mother, sending mom vibes for Koa and Braden to get well soon. We need it. And at the same time, you still have an absolutely elite caliber team without them. But man, I mean, you sit there, Kevin, and you think to yourself, what if Arizona starts hitting their free throws? What if Koa Peat is available? How good can this team well and truly get?
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I lead the show where I led the show to start it, because I think that is the biggest takeaway today, is that Arizona not only won this game, which was improbable in the first place, but they won it without one of their star freshmen. I got in trouble on TikTok because I said star freshman, and I guess, I respect Braden Burries. We got multiple star freshmen. I respect Ivan Karchenkov, but Koa Peat coming into this season was the guy in that recruiting class. And to have him, whether it be a nagging injury, whether it be an injury, whenever you believe he got it, to not have him for this Houston game was a big deal. We talked about it on the pregame show. Houston lacked paint presence requisite to really give Arizona a challenge in that area of the game. Not having Koa Peat lessened that advantage, but Arizona was still able to come out and dominate the point of attack physically. And when I said they beat Houston at their own game, what am I talking about? I'm talking about this Arizona team coming out and trapping like they're in Atlanta. I'm talking about this Arizona team coming out and playing physical as hell, making Kingston Flemings uncomfortable. And you're talking to maybe number 1 Kingston Flemings supporter on Kingston Flemings Island. Mm-hmm. He did not look like the guy that I have in my top 4 of my big board coming up for the NBA draft. Like, he looked uncomfortable. He looked like Arizona was all up in his grill. And for as much talk as people are going to have in this chat about Jaden Bradley, which he did not play his best game today, also maybe didn't fully look healthy. I mean, I'm talking about sickness, not injuries. But, there's a sickness going around, and you have to imagine that Jaden Bradley maybe caught that. I'm speculating there. Either way, still played really good defense on one Kingston Flemings. Every time Flemings went for that little, run around a screen mid-range shot, Bradley was right here, right there, hand in his face, right? Can't see nothing. And it was a great performance defensively from this Arizona team. We talk about Houston being suffocating. 66 points for Houston tonight. Arizona suffocated them in their own house.
I'm looking through Kingston Flemings' game log, Kevin, and I know he scores 17 points tonight, which is not, on paper a bad outing, but he does so on 6 for 17 shooting 35% from the field. Very, very low for a guy like Kingston Flemings, who damn near shoots 50% from the field as a guard.
Averages 20-something against top 25 teams.
I was just about to highlight his performances against other top teams on his schedule here. Iowa State, 22 points on 60% shooting. BYU, 19 points on 44% shooting. We got Texas Tech, 42 points on 57% shooting. Texas Tech again, 23 points on 47% shooting. Arkansas, 21 points on 46% shooting. Tennessee's 25 points on 66% shooting. Auburn, 22 points on 61% shooting. I mean, every game that Kingston Flemings plays against top-tier competition, he shows up and he shows out. The dude's absolute nails. We've been talking about his performances against top competition all season long. And I think Arizona just got Kingston Flemings to play his worst game against a top 25 team in this one. And how fitting in Kevin Thomas's face against Kevin Thomas's team, Kevin Thomas's son, having his worst performance of the season. It really makes you think what the heck is going on there. But yeah, I mean, just not his best performance, not Emmanuel Sharp's best performance. 14 points on 2 of 11 shooting, Kevin. And it felt like that was another guy Arizona was going to have to try to stifle a little bit to get the job done in this game. Now, there were some things where, it wasn't the prettiest, such as the Jaden Bradley performance like we talked about, Braden Burries being, as sick as he looked out there. But you knew that this was going to be like a slugfest if Arizona was going to win, right? It was never going to be Arizona blows Houston out with a short rotation on the road to take control of the Big 12 conference. It was going to take this type of effort. And, despite maybe not playing the cleanest game of all time, you find a way to get the job done. I think, as David Rosen puts it, I think that this goes to show that Arizona is the team to beat in college basketball. Yes. Michigan or Duke, whoever wins that game, probably going to be number one when it's all said and done on Monday, but it should be the Wildcats.
Yeah, it should be, but you know what? I don't give a damn.
No, I'm just saying that I think that this team is the best. I agree. Ultimately, it's unimportant. Agreed.
No, yeah, I was mostly saying I don't give a damn because regardless of, and within reason, regardless of the way they played to end the season, as long as they continue this strong stretch of play in the Big 12, entering March Madness, and this is what we were talking about earlier before our show, Damon, what most matters to me, what is most important to me, is how I feel about this team day one of the NCAA tournament. When the ball gets tipped off, do I think Arizona has as good of a chance as anybody to win the national title? Because as we discussed last year, as many people before we even were using this podcast as a platform, were discussing about, we've known forever. The margins in March are this small, right? Whether you're the best team or the worst team. What was it, the St. Francis Peacocks? Who were they a couple years ago with Doug Edert, right? How was that guy's name with the Buffalo Wild Wings deal and the mustache?
Dougie Buckets.
Dougie Buckets. The margins are small. Do you think that Doug Edert was, notably better than all the teams that he beat? That day, sure. But in general at basketball, no. But the margins are that small, so you need to understand that as long as you get to March with a shot at it, which Arizona hopefully will do healthy, hopefully you get to that point healthy, I think today really proved that they should be, at least in my opinion, everybody's, St. Peter's, by the way, was the name of the team. It should be everybody's national title favorite. The ability to play physical, the ability to play in the half court, the ability to play in transition, the ability to slow you down, speed you up, beat you up, play with finesse. This team can do a little bit of everything. And what's most surprising to me, Damon, is they're able to do a little bit of everything even without two of their guys. It was incredibly impressive. And I know we do have Saul Bookman joining, I believe, in the tail end of the show because he is recovering from whatever Dwayne Aristode mystery illness he had that kept him from Houston. But good thing.
Dwayne Aristode, Saul Bookman. I mean, the Cats are just down and out right now, but that doesn't mean that it's over.
It's a good thing though. And I'll mention it here and we can get it with Saul in the end, but good thing Saul did not go to Houston as it turns out, because we got the dub today and we can sort that out with him later, Damon. But I do want to discuss one aspect of this win, and he is our king of the court, Anthony Dell'Orso. Now, ADO, 22 points.
Oi.
ADO, oi, oi, oi. That's kind of fire.
We might need to keep that going.
Yeah, that's kind of awesome. 22 points, 3 rebounds, 4 steals today. Who can't play in the Big 12? Who can't play defense in the Big 12? Boy, I'll beat that. You know what I'm saying? Saying that about Anthony Dell'Orso, because that man was phenomenal today from the tip. And I think I need to highlight this. Did you know what Anthony Dell'Orso's 2 highest scoring performances are in a U of A uniform? The last 2 games. Yes, 22 points apiece. The last 2 games, his best performances of arguably his Arizona career, arguably his college career. But Delly came through when you needed him most, Damon, and that is why he is our king of the court today. Just how special a performance it was.
It really was. And obviously he goes down with what looked to be an ankle injury late. Hopefully it's not too bad. Walked off the court
Came back in the game, played some defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I just the dude has stepped up in such a massive, massive way in the last 2 games when you've needed him most, when your team's been shorthanded, when I've gone on the pregame show, Kevin, and I've said, let's look at who maybe could give us more than what they've been giving us recently. And you're pointing straight at Anthony Dell'Orso and saying, what do you have in store? Because we know you could go off for 20 on any given night, but you've been playing like dog water. And he goes out there and he just, what a performance. You wouldn't have any idea that he was playing his worst basketball of the season. And he comes up in the biggest stretch of the season, I would argue, with the Koa and Aristode injuries. And that's what he gives you.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, it's incredible stuff. It's why we watch sports. And it's the type of thing that I feel like, you're going to need that type of Delly performance in a NCAA tournament game. And it's good to know that, like, we have this guy, and he can step up when his number is called upon, when he's needed to be made more of a focal point of the offense, because that was a great performance. And not to mention, as you said, the 4 steals, looking like Genesis Smith back there, picking off passes, looking like Traden Stukes. And I absolutely loved every moment of it.
I did as well. As we enter the sun a little bit earlier on our post-game pod than usual.
Oh my God. What it's definitely always Ayrton walking into the studio. I think that's what we're figuring out here. Anyway, the post-game show, the annual lights on in the Wildcats post-game show happens already. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, but yeah. I won't be counting on anything, Kevin.
Leave a like for Anthony Dell'Orso's performance. It was incredible tonight. And I think one thing about the one thing about Delly that I noticed tonight, sorry, the lights really threw off my train of thought there, but I will say this much. That man, it feels like he's a player that needs touches to get a rhythm going. I think we've seen this season with him having more of an off-ball role, him having less of an involved role on the ball than he did last year. Mm-hmm. It feels like it's been harder for him at times to get his shot going, just catch and shooting. When he's given opportunities to be dominant on the ball, when he's given opportunities to handle the ball, now obviously he's improved markedly over last season, but the man he is today, I kind of, trust is a strong thing to say, but I kind of trust Anthony Dell'Orso to be dominant on the ball at times, take some dribbles. Like, he's cool. You know that rule of, like, the rule of 3 dribbles, kind of? I don't know if that's a real rule, but it feels like if you have a big, right, and he takes more than 3 dribbles, he's doing something wrong. You got to move that ball, right? ADO was in that category for me for a while, but it feels like he just kind of needs touches. He kind of needs time on the ball to get his shot going, to get his confidence going, to feel like, oh, I can beat this guy off the dribble. Oh, I can do, oh, okay. And it's not just like going into everything like, can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. Let me try. Like, I think that ADO, to me, showed that when he's given more run, he almost gains a ton of confidence, right?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like knowing that he had those field goal attempts, that kind of volume coming his way was maybe the difference for him, right? Because, it felt like when he had more limited opportunities and every single shot that he took was, going to increase or decrease his playing time, that's when you're seeing not even close attempts at 3. And now when he's maybe a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more grounded in what he knows that is going to be his role on a game like this, where you have a 6-man rotation and he knows he's going to get 30+ minutes, maybe that's the comfortability that he needs in terms of, maybe just a little bit of extra confidence there. And so now the struggle becomes, how do we get Delly, when we get those players back, to starring in his role a little bit more so like he was earlier in the season, but not like he was kind of in this middle stretch of the season. And I think that's going to be the struggle there, is like, when we get Koa back, when those shots maybe take a step back, how do you stay efficient in your opportunities? Because that's what it seemed to be he was struggling with. At least that's the one differentiator that I can really see and think of in this moment right now. But yeah, what a performance from Anthony Dell'Orso. Delly.
Oi, oi, oi. One more note on the Delly side of things. I want to give a huge, massive, incredible shout out to not only Anthony Dell'Orso for putting in the work in the offseason to get stronger, become a better defender, but also to the strength and conditioning team at Arizona. Yeah. What they've been able to do with Anthony Dell'Orso should tell any transfer, any high school guy that might be a little too scrawny to compete at the Big 12 right now, Arizona can develop you. I mean, look at what Anthony Dell'Orso has done. We had him on the not the post game. We had him on the Spring Media Day podcast. You and I did it on the McHale floor, interviewed ADO, and he talked about as soon as he walked off the floor after that loss to Duke last year, he's calling strength and conditioning like, yo, I got to get bigger. I have to be better. I have to be stronger. I have to be more capable on defense next year. And you love to see a guy call his shot and then come through with it, right? We all know the guy. I might be this guy that hits up his buddies and goes, yeah, I'm going to the gym. Yeah, I'm getting big. I'm losing weight.
Early bird gets the worm.
You know me. 2 weeks later, he's sleeping until noon. You know what I mean? It takes effort to get that type of result. And for ADO to become this player over the course of one offseason, now obviously he's been showing up every day for like 4 or 5 years now at the college level, right? So it's a lot more than that. The journey is not just that. But this last year and a half really has been transformative for him. And I think for him to be able to have this performance today is a huge validation on what Arizona's strength and conditioning program is capable of, truly.
Yeah, no doubt about it. A much-deserved King of the Court award for Anthony Dell'Orso tonight. 2 in a row. 2 in a row. Kevin, can he make it 3?
Don't let Delly get hot.
Can he make it 3 against Baylor? Hopefully that injury is nothing to be concerned about here. But I want to ask more and talk more about Tommy Lloyd. Was that the best game that he's coached at Arizona? Let's do that on the other side of our first break here on the AZ Wildcats post-game show. Please drop a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. We do pre-games and post-games for every Arizona basketball and football game. And, of course, we do daily shows all throughout the week, 5 shows a week. And, of course, just right here on this very same channel. So subscribe if you haven't done so already. Like this video, drink your water, and do not go anywhere.
Damon, just like Arizona's incredible defense, Circle K is reliable. You can trust Circle K to be there for you whenever you need them most. Need an extra gallon or two? You can join the Inner Circle for free today and save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. That's 25 cents off on your first 5 fill-ups. They do not make that kind of money on trees. Technically they do. But either way, Circle K is the best way to save money if you're gassing up. I know anytime I take a trip down to Tucson, I got to gas up with our friends over at Circle K. Might even go get some roller food, some tornadoes. A kind of underrated gas station snack, Damon. So make sure to also check out their peanut butter stuffed pretzels. I am partial to those. Join that Inner Circle for free today. The deals do not end there. They have meal deal matrices as well. So join that Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions do apply only at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
You already know that Phoenix is one of the best sports cities in America, Arizona being one of the best sports states in America. And this spring, it's about to raise that bar to an entirely new level. For the first time ever, NASCAR and NTT IndyCar Series are combining to race during the same weekend at Phoenix Raceway, and you get a front row seat to it all. They have all types of ticketing packages that you can get a part of, Kevin. If you want to camp out your RV in the lawn, maybe you want some greater access where you can walk the track, be there where the pit crews are and kind of hang out in that area, some VIP access, or you just want to be in the stands. Check out the link in our show description for more details on those ticketing packages. But guys, it really is an experience unlike any other. It's the type of sporting event that brings people closer together unlike any other as well. It's the vibes are incredible out there. The one time I went, we went for PHNX Sports. We were doing some content out there. We got people throwing us beers to shotgun. We're meeting new friends left and right. All types of great food trucks, different sponsors out there doing giveaways. Like, it's just incredible vibes out there at Phoenix Raceway at the foothills of the Estrella Mountains, and you get 2 races to celebrate this year. So get in on that today. Go watch 2025 Cup Series champion Kyle Larson return to the track, and NASCAR and NTT IndyCar Series weekend at Phoenix, March 5th through March 8th. Secure your seats now at the link in our show description.
Damon, you mentioned rock star vibes because I feel like you kind of made us sound like rock stars. Just people throwing beers at us saying, please drink it, drink my beer, right? You know who is a rock star? Tommy Lloyd. And yes, that is probably how Tommy's feeling after doing what he just did to Kelvin Sampson, because for Tommy to have this team as ready as they were today for Kelvin Sampson's Houston squad on the road is a true testament to what he's able to do as a head coach. The defense that Arizona employed today, the discipline that Arizona had on the defensive end today. I know there were some silly fouls, specifically from Tobe Awaka, and things are going to happen, right? You're playing with a high level of effort like Tobe does, you're going to run into a Kingston Flemings every once in a while when he stops at the out-of-bound line and you just can't stop your, 200 and I don't even know how many pounds of muscle Tobe Awaka is. That's a lot of force going forward. Either way.
265.
Yes. Either way, Tommy Lloyd had this team ready today. And I know that we talk a lot about how much we love Tommy Lloyd, how much we trust in Tommy, TIT, the whole thing. But I think today's game is why you trust in Tommy Lloyd. Right? I mean, the man has an unbelievable record on the road. The man has an unbelievable record against top 25 teams. The man has an 3-2 now against top 3 teams, I believe. Someone fact check me in the chat. But you don't see that type of results from just your run-of-the-mill Jag coach. Tommy Lloyd is a special coach. And now we talk a lot about needing results in March. And there probably might be some people in this chat that go, well, you might need to get past Sweet 16 before I can say he's a good basketball coach. And it's like, well, I get it, because like I told Damon earlier, like the national championship is the ultimate goal. And so if you cannot come through, then I get it. But you got to have some trials and tribulations before you get there, right? And Tommy Lloyd, he spoke about it earlier on this season, how much he's learning from each game, learning from each year. I think this game in particular, we learned Tommy Lloyd for sure is one of the best coaches in the country. To do that to a Kelvin Sampson team with a point guard like Kingston Flemings and Milos Uzan 5 feet to his right, it's really tough to do that. Oh, yeah, and you don't have your star freshman coach, Peat. Oh, yeah, and you don't have one of your defensive stoppers in Dwayne Aristode. Oh, yeah, and you're going to have 2 big men foul out in crunch time down or up a couple possessions. Oh, yeah, and your point guard is kind of stinking it up because he might be sick too. There's so many things going against Arizona in this matchup, and it's why many fans, including many people in this chat, coming into this game said Arizona can't get it done. I was not begrudging anybody for having that opinion. I came on the post game and said I think they get it done, and in fact, I got the right score prediction for the one half of it. But I did not. I came in there and said I think they get it done, but it's totally realistic for you to see a loss in this one. There's just so much going against them. So for Tommy Lloyd to have these guys that level of ready today, absolute masterclass, man.
Absolute masterclass. And on top of that, how about a little bit of wrinkles being thrown into the out of bounds plays, Kevin? Trying to break a press, doing that football play with the guys running up the sideline and kind of breaking in. Like, I love to see an added wrinkle. And to be fair, I've as much as I've hammered this point home the last 2 seasons, really, because it's been something I've had a lot of concern about. I do think that, like, potentially Tommy was holding on to some of these wrinkles because he wants to utilize them and deploy them in moments that matter, right? And whether that's the Big 12 tournament, the NCAA tournament, or a game like today where it's crunch time and you got a regular season title potentially on the line. You got Damon and Kevin screaming at each other because it means everything. And I love to see that adjustment being made, because that's something that I feel like, has been one of the shortfalls, the very few shortfalls of Tommy Lloyd that, has been concerning. And yeah, he did throw a couple of extra, plays that we haven't really seen before at Arizona. Plus, another thing that I mentioned on the last post-game show against BYU is it feels like when Jaden Bradley goes back to the ball there and he catches it and then they send that double at him, he almost is too, like, he wants to scan to see where the right pass is. And as I said, like, you almost have to, like, be ready to just let it fly. I feel like you have to, like, jump up and not really know where you're going and be like, that guy's open. So, because someone's wide open. Yes. And he did that exactly today, finding Braden Burries. And so I love to see changes being made to our trying to press break at the end of games, because it's been not so good so far.
I want to continue to give a great shout out to everybody watching this show, everybody chatting right now in the chat. It is popping our chat. We have so many viewers right now. Thank you for viewing. Like Damon said, subscribe, like this video. The one, the only Johnny Venerable in the chat saying, Clayton Toon went to Houston. Frauds. Thank you. Thank you, Johnny. You know it's a big show when honorary Wildcat Johnny Venerable is in the chat. So,
absolutely. He loves the Wildcats. He always says that.
Yeah, he always says that. Biggest Wildcat guy, Johnny Venerable. But look, Damon, you mentioned the wrinkles that Tommy Lloyd threw in. How about that defensive wrinkle as well? Like Brian, I think it was, brought it up there in the chat. Like, I think, actually, before we get to that, I do want to address something you said about the out-of-bounds plays. Because we talk a lot about coaches, like, holstering some of their best sets for, like, tournament time, for late in the season, for when you really need them and you don't want to put them on tape too early for teams to study and figure out how to counter and ruin them. I don't think this is really the reason as to why the inbounding plays have been so bad. That's not really why you have bad inbounding late game execution. But do you think that some of these wrinkles that Tommy Lloyd is putting in, I kind of feel like they've been there, they've been practiced, but you don't want to burn it against, I don't know, like Baylor, for example. You don't want to burn it against Oklahoma State. You don't want to burn it against West Virginia because you don't need to. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Tommy Lloyd has such a high level of trust in this year's team. I could totally see him being like, yeah, we're not doing well in these late game inbounding scenarios, but you know what? I trust in our guys to figure this out over the course of the year, not just tonight. Like, I know you and I have a kind of an issue with him, like, trusting teams too much in these late game scenarios, but I think he thinks so long term. I could totally see him being like, look, I got some stuff in my pocket that I trust with this year's group that when we break it out, they're not going to be able to stop us. Now, whether that's you agree, disagree, right, wrong, and different, I kind of feel like that's part of it because you don't just draw up a football play on the inbounds against Houston just because you think it might work. You have to have some sort of level of security that you know that that's going to work, I would assume, right?
Yeah, you would think so. And I do, like I said, I do think that, like, maybe he just didn't feel like that was something that Arizona should be showing to opponents when you're playing UCLA in Los Angeles in, what was that, game 4 or whatever it was? Like, it was so long ago at this point. I feel like, that's maybe where I always was like, I don't know if he's just waiting to deploy these extra wrinkles, but I was hoping that he would pull out all the stops in games like this. And it definitely felt like changes needed to be made because what we had seen in prior games up to this point really hasn't been good enough for the caliber of team that Arizona is. Now, there are a lot of things that I think need to be talked about this game, like the free throws side of things, Kevin, and just overall fouls in general. But I mean, certainly not a perfect performance, but your coach led you to victory here today. And if we were doing King of the Court with, adding in coaches, I think that it maybe should go to Tommy Lloyd for the performance that was put on display.
Yeah, the coach of the court is just perpetually Tommy Lloyd. But like you mentioned, right, this is Tommy's first win over Kelvin Sampson. It feels like this is a coup in a way for Tommy Lloyd to have been able to pull this off on the road without Peat is a huge testament to his game planning, Jack Murphy's game planning, Ken Nakagawa, Coach Chappelle, the whole staff. I'm sure it was a real team effort to game plan for a team like Houston that is as good as Houston is. I mean, I think Arizona was so good in this game, Damon. There is a world where if you are a college casual, like tuning in for the first time in like late February, March kind of thing, there's a world where you watch this game and think, man, Houston kind of stinks, right? But it's because Arizona was so dominant today. They made Houston look nerfed. It was like they had kryptonite in their pocket, right? They just weren't the same level of Houston that maybe you would expect. Like, for example, Arizona is up like, 2 to 4 points down the trail end of this game. I'm fully expecting in my Arizona fandom and just my college basketball fandom, I'm fully expecting Kingston Flemings or Emmanuel Sharp to make some ridiculous three from either the top of the line or the hash, and it's going to either tie the game or they're going to go up by 1, and now we're going to have to do this back and forth. It never happened. Arizona's defense was so solid, it never happened. These issues that Arizona's had playing with a lead, it didn't happen today. It's kind of incredible, to be honest with you, that Arizona was able to do this. And we talked about it on the pregame. They needed a performance like this to beat Houston. They needed it, and you got it today. And you have a 73-66 victory. And on that note, there are some more numbers that we need to get to. Let's get to our by the numbers in this one, Damon. 73-66 is the most important score or the most important stat on this screen because you get the dub over Houston, but you also outshoot them, at least from the field, 45-36. 3-point percentage was not great, but this is the 25-26 Arizona Wildcats. They're not exactly the 2016 Warriors. They shoot 25%, 3 of 12. Houston shoots 31 on 8 for 26. It felt like Arizona had great closeouts. It felt like Arizona had a really good job of doing what teams have done to Arizona, of taking where Emmanuel Sharp shoots his usual threes and pushing them back 2 feet and saying, not only are you going to have a hand in your mouth, but you're also going to be 2 feet from where you usually are. So good luck getting it there. And it made it really hard on him, in my opinion, to get going, get a rhythm, get that confidence that ADO was able to get early on in the game. Rebounds. This is the first time all season, unfortunately, that Arizona has been out-rebounded. Oh, man. I mean, how do I even recover from this pain?
The streak is over.
It's over.
End the season. Who cares anymore?
I mean, who even cares about the win? We got out-rebounded. We might as well have lost.
It's not even a win.
But yeah, Arizona does get out-rebounded 39-37 today.
It takes till game 27 for the Cats to get out-rebounded in a basketball game, and it takes the number 2 team in the country at home to do it.
Without Peat.
Without Peat.
Yeah. Oh, and don't mention Awaka and Krivas fouled out at the end.
Both centers fouled out, and your starting power forward was not available.
And you lose a rebounding battle by 2. And you also dominate the paint points 38-20 in this one, a very pivotal stat here. And arguably, in my opinion, this is the stat of the game, Damon, right here. Turnovers. Now, we mentioned on the pregame show, I'm going to keep referencing the pregame show because it might have been our most ball-nowhere pregame show yet.
It was.
But I said on the pregame show, how did Iowa State beat Houston? By just 3. They only had 3 turnovers. A program record, by the way, for Iowa State. Arizona, I said, needed to come out and have 4 to 8 turnovers to get this one done. They turned the ball over only just 5 times. But most importantly, they turned Houston over and made it count. The stat of the game here is points off turnovers. Arizona had 5 turnovers. Houston had 12 turnovers. Arizona had 16 points off of those turnovers. Houston made just 3 points off the 5 turnovers. Arizona did a great job of minimizing the mistakes and then also minimizing the potential collateral damage after they made one of their 5 end up being mistakes in this game. So, yeah, those are by the numbers. But I think that turnover battle and the points off turnover battle, key to this one. It's why Arizona got the win.
I'll add in the stocks battle, Kevin.
Yeah.
11-5 in favor of Arizona. You more than double up the number of steals plus blocks, and that's in large part because you get 9 steals, 4 by Dell'Orso. We know Karchenkov is an absolute menace. And Jeff Goodman tweeted, Kevin, during the game that there are not 5 better defenders in the country than Ivan Karchenkov, to which I respond, Jeff, there is not one better defender in the country than one Ivan Karchenkov. That dude is unbelievable to watch play defense. His off-ball work, the way that he is in the passing lanes just continuously. And does anyone love roadkill more than Ivan Karchenkov? I mean, he gets that one deflection that, bounces off the Houston guy, goes out of bounds. And then, Kevin, you mentioned that it looked like he thought he was at McHale Center for a second. Like he was about to run down to the student section and get people fired up. But Ivan Karchenkov is the best defender in college basketball, and he's on my team.
I mean, you could not have said it. I could not have said it better myself, Damon. But in response to Mr. Jeff Goodman, I will say this.
Welcome to the party.
100%. Welcome to the bandwagon, Mr. Goodman. I've been welcoming people in for months now. In
fact,
didn't
start that bandwagon, brother.
People say that I did because some people tried to tell me that I didn't. And then I went and found the receipts that said I did. But no, shout out to Ivan Karchenkov.
Some people were saying Ivan was him in October, Kevin. Disregard your tweets from June.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure 6 is less than 10. And I'm pretty sure June comes before October. And I'm pretty sure he was not even pen to paper yet. But either way, Ivan Karchenkov is insane. Welcome to the bandwagon, Mr. Jeff Goodman. We're happy to have you on the right side of history because Ivan Karchenkov is that good of a defender. That deflection that he had on that ADO layup from that Bradley pass, and I know we all remember what we're talking about here, that was incredible. And spoiler alert, it might come in to play later in our Love to Play the Game segment. But, man, there's not enough words for what Ivan Karchenkov brings to this Arizona basketball team. I thought, obviously, we know what he brings defensively. Mm-hmm. I thought offensively tonight, he was maybe the most out of control he's been all season. But I think also that's credit to what Houston's able to do in terms of making sure you can't get into the paint very cleanly. I think it made it hard on Ivan once he would do that little jump stop and not have an immediate they're still on me. And in fact, they're doubling me. I need to make a better decision. And it would result in him kind of flopping down there at some points. But offensively, he was so decisive. Like as soon as he caught the ball, if he was driving hard, he was driving fast, and he was putting a shoulder down into somebody. Yep. And when he got there, whether he got stopped, he was looking around to kick it back out. It wasn't getting stuck. The ball was not sticky. It's never sticky with Ivan Karchenkov. He's always moving it, and he's always making seemingly the right decision. And yeah, tonight was another game where you needed Ivan Karchenkov to play well, and he did.
Yeah. I mean, Ivan Karchenkov, 39 minutes in this game, Kevin. He sits for 1 minute. He gives you 16 points, 5 of 11 from the field. And that includes like a skunked layup, which I know he wants back. 5 for 6 from the free throw line. And you know, drew 3 fouls. You talk about being a little bit out of control, but I do think that he forced some calls to be made, especially at times when Arizona really needed some free throw attempts. And then he caps it off with 9 rebounds, leads the team in rebounding. Both your centers are battling foul trouble, and Ivan Karchenkov's adding 5 defensive rebounds with 4 offensive rebounds. I mean, the dude is just such a well-balanced, all-around basketball player. And I think that's kind of what you highlighted back in June when you were watching the very small amount of tape that we had on this guy. Is like, you're sitting there and you're like, it's the middle of a Tuesday at 5:37 p.m. and Kevin and I are not talking about anything. It's completely silent. And he looks at me and he goes, you know, Damon, I can't find a hole in Ivan Karchenkov's game. And I'm like, Kevin, it's June 12th. And we couldn't be further from college basketball season.
No, yeah.
But that's the kind of sicko stuff that this guy was on when he built the Ivan Karchenkov bandwagon. And man, like the dude, that's a winner. That's a winning basketball player if I've ever seen one. What a performance from Ivan Karchenkov. One thing we have to talk about here, and we do have Saul Bookman in the wings. We're going to get him on in here in a second. But Kevin, you took some shots fired, I should say, at Houston fans in lead up to this podcast.
I did.
In the
pregame show. Don't appreciate your
program
the way that you should.
Don't appreciate the program the way that you should. Now, then this game gets played, and how about those classless Cougar fans of Houston?
What happened?
I mean, did you hear there were some F-bombs being thrown behind Fran when Dell'Orso was on the ground, Kevin, nursing that ankle? He got called the P word by maybe that same fan who was saying some classless, tasteless things earlier that would never get said by a couple of guys like angels like me and Kevin, sweethearts, that would never say a dirty word. But yeah, just not kind of nasty from Houston fans. Not the best showing, I would argue. Maybe your shots fired maybe that was right. Maybe that was justified.
Like I said, our pregame show was the mighty almanac for this game. If you wanted to know what was going to happen, you should have watched our pregame show. But we have Saul Bookman, known ball knower, coming up on the other side of our second and final break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Leave a like. We're just 9 away from 100. I know y'all can do it. We're doing our part. The Wildcats did theirs. Now it's your turn to do yours. Leave a like. Stick around. Drink your water. Don't go anywhere. Damon, don't go anywhere unless you are going to a dispensary, if you're of age, to get some Pure Edibles. Now, Pure Edibles, I mean, look, the only way I could have seen this win coming was with some Pure Edibles. And you know what? The other night, took some Pure Edibles, texted my boy Damon, I'm kind of talking myself into an Arizona Wildcats W, and this is how it's going to happen. And then the pregame show happened, and then Arizona got the dub. So what I'm saying is the best way to unwind, relax, or get a little bit of balance in your life is with our friends over at Pure Edibles, a full-fledged candy company offering all the fun stuff, CBN, CBG, CBD, and marijuana-derived THC in all types of forms. They got kicks, hard candies, chews, gummies, all types of stuff. And it's not covered in sugar and chemicals like your other garbage edibles that are out there just throwing anything on the product. No, like I said, full-fledged candy company from right out here in the Freedom State of Arizona in over 130 dispensaries. Now, like I said, I am partial to the chews, like the gummies vibe that they have. So go find yourself some Pure Edibles from one of the over 130 dispensaries that dispense them.
Kevin, let's talk a little bit about our friends over at Branded Bills, our presenting sponsor of Branded Bills, because there are no better Arizona Wildcats headwear out there in the game than at brandedbills.com. Guys, check it out for yourself, the campus collection. They have partnerships with over 40 universities, including all the ones here in state, but we only care about Arizona Wildcats headwear. And let me tell you, if you're looking for some team-specific headwear, whether it's, baseball, softball picking up a huge win today, by the way, against number 10 Stanford. You want a baseball hat to show some support for your winless Wildcats. You want a basketball hat. You want a football hat. You name it. They have team-specific hats. They have limited edition hats. They have logos. that are specialty logos, such as the Galaxy Slam night that Arizona basketball just had on Wednesday against BYU. They have Galaxy Slam hats made over at brandedbills.com. They also have that great cursive cats logo. I mean, you name it. If it's an alternate logo, I guarantee that Branded Bills has it on their website over at brandedbills.com. You can also check out the campus collection that they have at the Arizona bookstore, where they have some cool limited release editions as well. But guys, local company out of Mesa, Arizona. They love their Wildcats. They love supporting Arizona athletics, and you should go support Branded Bills as well. Head on over to brandedbills.com, use promo code BBPHNX, and get 15% off your first order over at brandedbills.com. Also have some great custom headwear and apparel as well, like this PHNX sports hat I got on. So check that out and check out the best headwear in the game over at brandedbills.com.
And for the best Arizona Wildcats analyst in the game, we're going to throw it to one Saul Bookman live from the live from his office at home. And Saul, I got to tell you this. I got to start here. We'd be wrong to start anywhere else.
Sure. Not
sending you to Houston, my brother, might have been the greatest decision this podcast has. We didn't make it. You made it. But you're not allowed to go to any more Arizona versus Houston matchups. You are here henceforth banned from Tommy Lloyd versus Kelvin Sampson matchups because 0-3 when Saul shows up, 1-0 when Saul stays home.
Yeah, numbers don't lie.
I mean, listen, I had a kind of a sick feeling in my stomach, when I was at the airport, and maybe in hindsight it was more of just like, what, there's this kind of final destination feeling about getting on this airplane and going to Houston, and I just feel like I might be cursing the Cats, so maybe this ill feeling in my stomach wasn't really food poisoning. It was just I don't want to let the team down, so I took one for the team and I stayed home, and it worked out. Yeah, I mean, I'm as shocked as anybody else. I did not think that this team had, and they always have a chance because they're a well-coached team and they're a solid team. But like, you just knew that they had to play kind of perfect, almost basketball, and they didn't even do that, and they still won the game by 7 without. I mean, half their damn roster was either out or sick, and just not looking right. Jaden Bradley, you could tell that he's got a lot of fatigue in his legs, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But when it all mattered, they found a way. They found a way tonight, and that's the third win. I think I saw a stat. I don't know if you guys mentioned it, but like 3 wins. Like, I think the entire country is like 5-72 when hitting 3 or less threes in a game against top opponents, and Arizona is responsible for 3 of those 5 wins, which is this season alone. This is just ridiculous. And Arizona is the only team in the country to beat 3 top 5 teams, 3 top 3 teams, and none of those have been at home. Just remarkable. It's just remarkable.
No, it truly is, Saul. And you mentioned it there. Now, obviously, we've touched a lot on this Houston game, and we're going to continue to talk about it with you. But one thing that you are known for is being the lead Jaden Bradley guy. You are flag on the moon of Jaden Bradley, and you're like, this is my guy. As
Saul discovered Jaden Bradley. We've been over this. He scouted him for the first time as a small child.
Yeah, the same way I flew over to Germany. I mean, flew over to like Russia, and I was watching 5-year-old Ivan dive on the ground for loose balls.
Correct.
But either way, Saul, what's going on with Jaden Bradley? There's a lot of, quite frankly, dramatic discourse on social media about his level of play and what's wrong with him or whatnot. What do you see as to what's going on with Jaden Bradley's game right now?
Listen, I think there's a little bit of fatigue going on. I think you could tell because, especially in that first half, some of those jumpers, he needed more he needed more lift on those jump shots. And typically, one of the telltale signs for fatigue is when your shots continuously fall a little short, and that's what's happening with Jaden Bradley. Now, the free throws are a completely different story. I don't know what's going on there. And sometimes, even like, for instance, like myself, right? Like, I set the state record for most consecutive free throws my junior year of high school. I shot 95% from the free throw line. And then the next year, for whatever reason, I shot like 69%. And I would have games where I would like miss 4 out of 7. I was like, what the hell's going on? Like this, I'm not a poor free throw shooter. And so sometimes it just happens. It's kind of funky like that. And he'll work himself out of it. But that's also why when everybody was, throwing the towel in on Jaden Bradley, which is just the most ridiculous thing ever. I even saw a tweet out there where it was like, he's damn near unplayable right now. I'm like, all right, calm down. What's the other option you have? Braden Burries is sick. You're going to stick with Evan Nelson for the whole game? Like, no, they would just hunt him the same way Arizona started to hunt Kingston Flemings in the second half, which started to work, and then they had to adjust because they couldn't let him get torched all game. And you just knew in this kind of game, if it came down to the wire, which I tweeted midway through the second half, I was just like, all right, y'all, like, you're jumping all over my guy's back, but he's going to come through. He's going to come through. And sure enough, he has 8 points to finish the game, 8 of the last, I think, 10 or 12 points for Arizona. Hit a basket, his free throws. Like, I understand, like, everybody kind of spinning out of control a little bit, but also, like, does he not warrant a little bit of, a little bit of leeway here and there? Because he has saved us more times than not. And tonight was another example of senior leadership and not letting the game affect him at a large degree. And he got down to the stretch of the game where it mattered most. And also, as the point guard, handling the ball most of the time, one turnover. Like, he didn't do anything egregious. He just couldn't make shots. I'm okay with that because most of those shots weren't bad. So, hey, I can live with that.
Now, one thing about, Jaden Bradley's game that people are bringing up here in the chat in relation to your fatigue argument is, like, the level of defense he's playing on the other end and against whom. Right now in this one, it's Kingston Flemings, who might go in the top 3, might go in the top 5 of this upcoming year's draft. Milos Uzan, who has torched this team a couple times. Remember that name? And then Emmanuel Sharp, who's same thing as I said about Uzan, but also his three-point shooting ability is otherworldly. And we talked about it before you joined in, Saul. Like, and I think you were in the chat anyway, so you heard this. But Arizona's ability to make those dudes uncomfortable is a part of the reason why you lost. Or, sorry, they lost and you won this game. But who's doing that? Jaden Bradley, right? And I think that, that could be playing into it. You don't – also, this is speculation, but you don't know how far that sickness has reached into the locker room. I'm assuming that you don't just stick around guys for 7 out of the 7 days in the week if they're sick and just not get sick yourself. So I think there is a little bit of that going on. These, like we've talked about, this is the dog days of the season, and Arizona is quite frankly very fortunate to get the results that they have gotten without Peat, without Dwayne Aristode, and you get BYU and Houston wins. So yeah, I think there is definitely some of that going on with Jaden Bradley, in my opinion, as well. And can you speak a little bit to the defense that Arizona's guards, not just Jaden Bradley, but the guards played against Houston's elite guards?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we talked about it on Mikhail Madness, and I even think that we talked a little bit about it on the post game the other night. But you knew Houston is known for trapping. They love to double. They love to trap the guards. They love to trap on the sidelines. They'd like to make it very uncomfortable for you. And one of the things we talked about was on offense, the ball can't stick. Well, the same thing applies to Houston when you turn the tables on them and you start to throw random doubles at them to make them uncomfortable. And what do they always say about teams that love to press? That they hate to be pressed themselves. And I think Arizona kind of took that script and flipped it on Houston and did the same thing to Houston, what Houston likes to do to them, which is double their guards, make it uncomfortable, push them away from the basket. They couldn't get any easy buckets near the rim. I think outside of like a Kingston Flemings kind of fluky, kind of bounced out pass, and he kind of took it to the rim and had a nice easy layup. It was a pretty hard game for Houston on the interior. Not a lot of easy baskets, very hard to come by. And when that happens, it makes it really tough for you to get into a rhythm offensively. And that's exactly what happened with Houston. They could not find a good rhythm whatsoever. Kingston Flemings had, you guys talked about it, he had his worst game of the season. And then Sharp didn't really look like he was in good form. Uzan gets hurt, unfortunately, midway through the second half. You hate to see that kind of stuff. But they didn't really look like Houston typically looks. And that's 100% because of what Arizona was doing to them. They were being physical. They pushed them away from the basket. They did a really, really solid job. And that's where Tommy really deserves a lot of credit. And then the small ball lineup. The small ball lineup, you think, okay, well, Arizona's going to use that. And you think, when you think small ball lineup, you typically think offensively, right? But because of the uniqueness of Ivan Karchenkov defensively and how strong he is, he kind of reminds me a little bit of like Chris Paul to a certain degree, because how many times have we saw bigs try to take advantage of Chris Paul? But Chris Paul is so stout and so strong that a lot of times they didn't get the mismatch that they thought they were getting. And that's exactly what happened with Ivan Karchenkov. There was a couple times where they had the advantage against Ivan, or so they thought, and it didn't happen because Ivan's too strong. He's too smart. He's too crafty. He gets his hands in the passing lanes. He's strong down low. He's built like a bull down low. Like, he's just a good, strong kid who could play defense at a high level because he's been playing against elite competition overseas for so long. When you're 12 and 13 years old and you got to go up against, Unk, you're going to find out real quick how strong you are and how much you have to grow. And that's exactly what Ivan did. So as a whole, defensively, to me, the best performance of the year by far. Their rotations were crisp. They never really had any letdowns or wide open shots. When we talked about the not the Kansas game, but the Tech game, there was a couple lapses on defense on rotations, and that's really what cost them the game. Tonight, they cleaned all that up. And this is all a process, and Tommy did a fantastic job of coaching these guys up and the rest of that staff. Couldn't be prouder of what you saw on that team from that team.
Now, you mentioned the traps situation, and that's like me and Damon, we were talking about that earlier on this show, but more importantly, like live watching the game, it felt like as soon as I saw Arizona come out trapping the way that they were, but more importantly, as you said, rotating after trapping the way that they were, I was like, okay, Arizona has a real shot today. Because if they're going to defend like that, it's when you're Houston and you're not really, like you said, been trapped this whole time, it's very easy to fall into some of the same pitfalls that you put opponents into. And I think Arizona's discipline today, as we talked about earlier, like the Tommy Lloyd masterclass, it really was incredible. Not to mention, Houston had more time to prepare for this matchup than Arizona did. Arizona just got done playing BYU. Houston lost to Iowa State over the weekend, right? So it feels like Arizona's ability to come in, execute defensively without Peat, without Dwayne Aristode, sick as hell, quite frankly, is really, really impressive, Saul. Now,
I really kind of wonder what's going to happen tonight, tomorrow. I would imagine, hey, everybody go to your hotel room, get an IV in you. Just everybody just chill out for a day because they need that. Look at Ivan Karchenkov after the game or even during the game, the last minute, hands on his knees. He is gassed. He put everything out there, and you love to see that. That's what you need from this team. If you're going to upset the number 2 team in the country, you need those kind of efforts. And they didn't even play a clean basketball game. That's the crazy part. Houston was at full strength. They have no excuses. And they lost to the best team in the country, in my opinion.
Let's talk about that best team in the country, because today you have Michigan playing Duke right now, and obviously Arizona got the win in their game, right, Saul? Just how big of a win in terms of the Big 12 is this? Because now the Big 12 title runs through Tucson as long as Arizona controls their business and handles their business throughout the rest of the year. How do you feel about this Big 12 conference shaking out right now?
You guys tell me if I'm wrong. All right, so Kansas loses today, so they're out. And Kansas can actually play the role of spoiler, because if they mess around and beat Houston on Monday, which could happen, especially after they laid absolute egg today, they're going to come out firing on all cylinders on Monday.
And it's on Big Monday, like we've talked about. Bill Self never lost on Big Monday.
Houston coming into town, so you have 2 teams that are kind of licking their wounds. If Kansas is able to pull off the upset against Houston will have lost 3 in a row, which is crazy to think. But they will also be 2 games behind Arizona. And if Arizona takes care of Iowa State, it's over before they even have to do anything else. So Arizona is definitely in the driver's seat. They're in a really good position right now. They can take care of Kansas next Saturday, and maybe the Iowa State game doesn't even matter at that point. Who knows? But yeah, they're this conference. It would have felt wrong if Arizona went 23-0 and then they had 2 losses and then somehow lost this game and then that was it. In a blink of an eye, it's all over in terms of the Big 12, because that's exactly what would have happened if they would have lost today. But they win today and they take absolute supremacy in the Big 12 as long as they can, finish down the stretch, which, listen, Kansas and Iowa State are not easy games, but they are at home, and Arizona needs to play a few good games at home now before the season ends. I think there's only 4 games left. They got at Baylor on Tuesday, which is not easy either. They got to take care of business, and hopefully they're well rested and recovered, and we'll see a different kind of Braden Burries. And then they come home for Kansas. Then they got Iowa State. Then they go on the road to finish it all off against Colorado. Like, solid opportunity to finish this conference season the right way and be the regular season champs for sure.
Big 12 title in hopes, or in sight, I should say. It's on the horizon. I think that, you feel pretty good about being the team that it's your conference to lose now, with, all the remaining games that you have on this season. But did today's game, just regardless of what happens in the Big 12 rest of the way, does today's game effectively wrap up a 1 seed for Arizona?
I would find it very hard to believe it didn't. You can't look at Arizona's resume, what they've done on the road in Stores, what they've done on the road in Houston, what they did in a neutral site against Florida, who's also playing some great basketball of late in Florida. So, like, I know what once looked like a big top-tier win, and then it started to look like, oh, maybe it's not a top-tier win, is now coming back to, oh, yeah, no, that was a top-tier win, which is great. And, like, again, I mentioned top three wins, which is the most of anybody in the country. Duke, even if they beat Michigan or Michigan beats Duke, it's at a neutral site. So, to me, the edge clearly goes to Arizona. And today, obviously, in the rankings release for a preview for the NCAA tournament, they were the number 3 overall 1 seed, which I would imagine they'll move up on that line. As long as they, in my opinion, if they finish off the rest of this regular season, the conference tournament is irrelevant. They're going to be the number 1 seed. I would even probably say for sure they're going to be a 1 seed no matter what. If they lost in their first game in the Big 12 or the last, doesn't matter. But the only reason why those conference tournaments would matter would be if you wanted to be the number 1 overall seed. That's really the only thing that they would have to play for. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but I honestly don't care about the Big 12 tournament right now. I just want to get to where it all counts. I want to see them win 6 in a row and finally get back to a national championship, level program, which I know they are, but you got to prove it in March, and that's all that matters.
You lock up the 1 seed, begs the question. We have a super chat here, Kevin, from our friend Greg Braggs of CHGO Bears. Braggs in the stands, $2 super chat. Is Purdue the scariest 2 seed you've ever seen, Saul?
So I saw a clip yesterday, courtesy of my friend Kevin Thomas, and the guy said it perfectly. He said Purdue is like that AAU team in the suburbs that is like really, really good, and they beat all these teams, and then they go to the city and they find out like, oh, they look over their coach and like, coach, why are these guys pressing the whole game? You know what I mean? Like, it's just different. That's how I feel about Purdue. Like, Purdue's, come on, man. Purdue, I'm not worried about no damn Purdue.
That was Mark Titus. Shout out to Mark Titus in terms of that. But yeah, also shout out to Braggs for tapping in with us.
Yeah, thank you for tapping in, Braggs. Hopefully we do get Purdue in our bracket, and
I want a Big Ten vengeance tour. Yeah. I want Purdue. I want Illinois, because my guy Eddie Johnson is just constantly going at me on Twitter about Illinois and Arizona, and I'm like, dude, get away from me, dude. You don't want this smoke. I promise you. Colin Boswell does not want to see Jaden Bradley. I promise you that. And then on top of that, I need Wisconsin. I absolutely need Wisconsin. I need revenge. I need it. Like, I need to see it and feel a little bit of redemption. So the Big Ten revenge tour.
Also,
awesome.
Like war flashbacks if Wisconsin gets put in our bracket, though. Like, I agree with you. I want revenge too, and they don't scare me. But I'm also sitting there like with the the zoom in and all the war scene in the background. Like, I'm horrified, Saul, of those colors, that logo. I want nothing to do with it almost.
We do have an update from Braggs, who says, another super chat. Thank you, Braggs. Calm down. Purdue beat Texas Tech by 30. Saul, your response?
Stop. Just stop. Just stop. Yeah, no, we're not even going there. We don't want to compare resumes.
We do have a few more super chats here. Trevor, out for a man in Saul Bookman's heart, tuned in from Disneyland, sporting his U of A gear. That sounds like Saul Bookman's dream world. Watch the Cats win against Houston in Disneyland. I mean, does it get any better than that, Saul?
No, it absolutely doesn't. That's. I mean, you're living the good life. I mean, Trevor's
peak
doing
existence.
It right.
That's peak existence.
He was probably on Rise of the Resistance cheering like crazy. So yeah.
Ty Pelly, $10. My apologies to Delhi for calling him Trey Townsend a few weeks ago.
Ooh. That's bad. That's bad.
It's the encouragement that Delhi needed.
It is. Sometimes rock bottom is just a trampoline, brother. That's all it is. Rock bottom is just a trampoline. Champy with the $2 super chat. CD also getting some nice minutes for experience. Saul, what'd you see from CD Gay tonight?
Franchise player.
Listen, he was stable. He played solid defense, had a nice block in that game. Like, you just needed him to take up some minutes. That's all you needed him to do. You didn't need him to do anything crazy. You needed to supplement a little bit. I must have some of the same lighting issues as you, Kevin. I don't know what's going on in here, but he needed to absorb some minutes so that way Krivas and Awaka could stay relatively out of foul trouble, even though they both fouled out. So, imagine if he wasn't available. They would have fouled out like halfway through the second half, and then we really would have been in trouble. So.
Next up, we have some more brag super chats. $5 to tell you Purdue matches up well with Arizona. I'm not scared. Braden will carve you up. Another $2. All right, I'm done. I love you. # job security.
I'm not talking about Purdue anymore. I'm just not. What are we doing here?
It's the PHNX Purdue postgame show.
Go worry about
the
your
post-turtle postgame show. Shout out to Corey Williams. But Saul, do you have any more notes on this one from your notebook today?
No. The only other note I did have is 5 turnovers overall.
Wilbur took a spill, Saul. Sorry, we're checking in on the
Wilbur had a little bit too much Three Amigos tequila on the pregame show, and yeah, I mean that was fun. What can you blame him? Oh, sorry, we had a good time. We partied a little bit too hard with the Cats taking the Big 12 lead in the conference.
5 turnovers today for Arizona. Houston had 12. I think that was really the offsetting for the being out rebounded and also the threes that Houston hit. So it kind of neutralized. Houston played a little bit of an uncharacteristic game, had some sloppiness going on. You could see my favorite part of that whole game was I think it was 14 or 12 minutes left to go in the second half, and Kelvin Sampson just gave up and sat down on the sideline. It was just I don't know what else to say.
I literally brought that up to Damon in the moment. Damon went over to get water from the kitchen. I start laughing my ass off. I go, Damon, you got to see what Kelvin Sampson just did. He's so frustrated by his team. He pulled the old head. I'm just giving up. Oh, you guys want to kick your feet up? I'll kick my feet up too. I'll wait for the effort. I'll wait for the discipline. I'll kick my feet up. It was incredible.
I love it. I love Kelvin Sampson, man. And I love the moment that Kelvin Sampson and Tommy shared coming into the second half where Arizona was supposed to get the ball, but it was really supposed to be Houston's ball, and they kind of laughed about it, whatever. You could tell, that's the other thing I will say. Kevin Young the other day for BYU mentioned the brotherhood of the Big 12 coaches and how much love people gave him for Richie Saunders being out. Same thing for JT Toppin. And you could tell that Kelvin Sampson and Tommy Lloyd have such a strong relationship, a good relationship. Obviously, Kelvin Sampson has always admired Arizona because of his relationship with Lute and the respect he had for him. So what I love about the Big 12 so far is that I don't feel insecure in cheering those teams on because they only make us better. And when you have the elite amount of competition from Kansas to Iowa State to Arizona to Houston, it just, it raises all the ships. And I think that's great. And then my last little nugget, you guys were talking about Johnny Venerable being a Wildcat. No, he's not. No. Go back and watch the show 2 days ago. Look at the hat that he's wearing. No, he doesn't get to be an honorary Wildcat if he's sporting ASU gear and if he's going to champion somebody I don't know. What's his name? That running back that played for them last year and now he's gone. Oh, yeah. Scadaboo over T-Mac. What? No. Not having it. Not in my house. Not a Wildcat. Not an honorary Wildcat. Will never be a Wildcat. He is a Sun Devil through and through. We'll keep it that way.
And I'm going to throw an extra wrinkle into this here, Saul, because when I was in Indianapolis almost a calendar year ago today, because it was for the NFL Combine last year, I'm sitting at the St. Elmo Steakhouse dinner that I'm having with Johnny Venerable, Bo Brock, Shane Diefenbach, breaking of the bread, meeting of the minds. We're having a great time. And it gets brought up, what is Arizona football's record going to be next season? And I said, I think if things break right and you hit on a couple of these transfers, Brent Brendan could maybe go 6-6. We'll say peak 7-5. And I'm getting laughed out of the room by Bo Brock and Johnny Venerable. They are saying things to me like, Damon, we thought you knew ball. Damon, how could you be so blind when it comes to your own team? And then they go out there and they win 9 football games. And then the whole rest of the year, Johnny's been saying, I've always believed in Brent Brennan.
Yeah, okay. So let's just get this straight. I love Johnny and I love Bo. They know NFL ball. They don't know college ball. They don't know college ball. I mean, straight up. They just don't. I am not afraid to say that. Hey, you wear ASU. Hey, I got roasted for wearing a Phillies hat, okay? If I'm going to get roasted for wearing the Phillies hat, you're damn right he's going to get roasted for wearing a Sun Devils hat. So, no, Johnny V, you are not an honorable Wildcat.
All I heard is that
Damon
Saul
does
thinks
know ball.
subconsciously that at least he kind of deserved to get roasted for the Phillies hat if you're roping yourself in there with JV.
Yeah, absolutely. I deserved it. It matched the fit. He didn't have that excuse.
He said, and I'd do it again.
Anything.
And I'd do it again.
I mean, he wasn't matching anything. No. We're not doing that. So anyway.
We're starting war with all the biggest podcasts here at ALLCITY, whether it's PHNX Cardinals, CHGO Bears. We want all the smoke on the AZ Wildcats podcast. All of it.
First of all, internally, the war was started by everybody around us. I've been fighting for my life until Damon came through those doors.
True.
And then Kevin. I mean, it's facts. Like, we're the only ones that were championing the cause. You know, Leah is a Wildcat, and she roots for the Wildcats, but she's kind of in this, precarious
No, let's
position.
keep it real, Saul. She has dual citizenship and for U.S. and Canada, and she does not pick a side for that. You think she's going to pick a side for college team? She won't even pick a side for the world, the Olympics.
Espo and Leah, the both of them, the lot of them.
I mean, oh man, don't even get me started on Espo. We've talked about Espo at length. So I'm not doing that again. Like, no.
All right.
Listen,
well,
I just know that us three are the true through and through Wildcats all the way. We're red and blue till we fucking die. I appreciate that. Big win on the road in Houston. I do definitely feel this way. I didn't know if Arizona had what it took to win a national championship despite their level of success, because I felt like they kind of got some breaks a little bit here and there, and they felt like they were a really good team, but I just didn't know, were they the elite of the elite? Like, were they truly 1 and 2? Tonight, without a shadow of a doubt, proved to me that not only are they the best team in the country, but they are the most gritty team in the country. To do what they did today with everything that was going up against them in terms of injury and illness, and to come out with a dub in a hostile environment against one of the most intimidating teams in college basketball, man, absolute Karchenkov. You got to love it.
You do got to love it. He is Saul Bookman. You can follow him at Saul_Bookman for all your great basketball takes, both mostly Wildcats, but occasionally a Suns take gets sprinkled in there too.
I just now noticed that you said live from the infirmary. That's pretty funny.
I mean, hey, I'm just glad you're recovering. I'm glad the infirmary worked its way out. But yeah, Saul.
Flu game. Saul Bookman flu game.
The flu pod.
And he brought it.
There we go, baby.
But yeah, you can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman, doing everything that he does. Mikhail Madness without Saul, with me, next week with Corey Williams. So usually you can find Saul and Corey over there.
My flu game is about to recover on this cruise I'm taking this week. So.
You had a Darren Peterson flu is what you had, Saul. We all know what you're working with. And that is Saul Bookman. Saul, we'll talk to you next time.
See you guys.
So, Saul telling coach to pull him out of the game because he's not feeling it anymore.
I mean, he literally hit the 3. He walks up to the terminal and goes, I'm good. What? What do you mean? You're in the game. Get in the game. But yeah, shout out to Saul. That was some great stuff, as always. We do have some super chats.
Yeah, shout out these super chats that we got coming in late here. Carl Schroeder, $5. Need Koa and Dwayne to get healthy, but loving our team composure and ability to fight through adversity. Best post-game coverage for Wildcat Sports. We really appreciate that, Carl. Thank you. You're one of the OGs, Carl. You've been here since the very beginning, and we appreciate your continued support of this podcast.
Man, Carl, real quick. Carl, I mean, how OG is he? found me on LinkedIn when we first took over this pod to DM me and be like, hey, I think you and Damon are pretty cool. I like the podcast. So shout out to Carl, longtime listener and oftentimes LinkedIn DMer. Shout out to AZCatG as well. Super chat, $2. Not quite a buzzer beater, but we'll accept it. BTFD guys, bear down PHNX most elite show. Thank you means the world, AZCatG. Because AZCatG, if you know, you know, he's not just a supporter of this pod. He watches other pods too. So that's some real compliments there from AZCatG.
AZCats OG.
Yes.
Because that's another OG of this chat. He's been watching since the beginning. We appreciate his support as well. Yeah, man, what an elite game. Kevin, I we're an hour and 15 minutes into the podcast damn near at this point, and I haven't said it yet. How about the mustache? Can we talk about the damn mustache? 2-0 in the Damon mustache era. I said something's got to change, Kevin. Shaved off the rest of the beard, let the mustache have its shine, and all of a sudden, we're taking down Kelvin Sampson. It's breaking curses. It's breaking damn curses, Kevin.
I want to give a shout out to Brian Edwards in the chat who told you to shape it up.
He did.
Told you to clean it up and told you to get the mustache right if you're
Brian
going to do it
Edwards
at all.
joined the D-back show yesterday to tell me simply, Damon, you better shave off that stubble before game day tomorrow. And I said, Brian, say less. We'll do.
We got another super chat from White Burrito. Shout out to Taquito. I'm off work. BTFD, everyone. Keep up the good work. I mean, White Burrito's schedule today that he outlined in the replies of one of my tweets sounded outlandish. I would be exhausted working the hours White Burrito does. Get home at what? What did he say? 5 a.m.? Nap until 11 a.m.? Wake up for our pregame and then watch the Cats. Unbelievable support. Thank you, White Burrito. And shout out to Taquito, who is back in the win column as well.
And remember, ladies love Ivan Karchenkov. That's a damn fact.
They sure do. He's everywhere. Dude, can we talk about that a little bit further? It really felt like, like when you're showing up to class or to work and your favorite teammate or coworker is just not there that day, right? And you walk in, you're like, hey, oh, he's not here today. Damon's off work today. And usually our off days overlap, you and I, because we do the same show. So yes. I don't really have that issue, right? But it did feel like Ivan Karchenkov, like we mentioned earlier, did go to turn around to the crowd and go, come on, and then realize they all hate me. This is great. I love Roadkill, but also it'd be really cool to have a band going, doon, bear down, like some stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Ivan Karchenkov, and that's a good transition into our love the play of the game with our friends over at Arizona Lottery. Play their multiplier scratcher family today. You can get them at any of their 3,500 retailers that they're associated with. Arizona Lottery truly is everywhere, and we love partnering with them. And I love the play of the game, which for me, man.
What a game.
Yeah, what a game. What a performance. Do you have one off the top of your head? Because I don't.
I was really hoping you would go first.
I mentioned one to you in the moment.
Here, let's just keep passing the ball back and forth to one another.
We'll do the thing where it's like, why did I come into this room? Why is the TV remote in my hand still? I'm in the kitchen. What's going on? But I remember I told you during the game, I was like, love the play of the game. That's it right there. And now I've forgotten what play it was. But it feels like, I will say,
was it not the save from Ivan Karchenkov to Jaden Bradley, drop the dude on Houston, dump off to Dell'Orso, easy buckets?
It was. That's why you're my podcast co-host, Damon, because the same brain. You read my mind. That is what I was forgetting. That play was unbelievable. I was going to say unforgettable, but clearly not. Ivan Karchenkov saving the ball one-handed, whipping it to Jaden Bradley, who you're like, all right, he's attacking the mid-range. Boop. Oh, want to see me do it again? Boop. That's how fast it was. Jaden Bradley just slinging the ball over to Anthony Dell'Orso, who goes and finishes it. That was Arizona basketball. That was real hoops, man. Ball movement, player movement. It's a beautiful thing. That's my love to play the game.
I love it. That was an unbelievable play there on that one in particular. I'll go with something a little bit more simple, Kevin, and I already talked about it, but I'm just going with the inbounds play where we start 5 wide on the baseline and run 4 straight crazy people at you. Yeah, I love the football inbounds. I've been begging for some added wrinkles to that those baseline out of bounds plays for how long, and we finally get some added wrinkles to break some press, and yeah, I couldn't love it anymore. Hopefully we see a couple more in the near future here. Maybe not. Maybe we just blow out everybody that we play against. But in the NCAA tournament, you're bound to play a close game, and I hope that we see a couple plays that we haven't maybe seen so far this season yet. But yeah, I'll keep it nice and simple. Something Tommy drew up because Tommy Lloyd, the true player of the game today.
We have a chat that is currently blowing my mind, and I simultaneously mentally relate to you, Eduardo, who says, my wife just told me she's pregnant, but I'm low-key more excited about Arizona winning. Air horn. I mean, that's commitment to the game. That is that text meme that's going around where it's like, I love you, how much? More than this, with a photo of like Arizona, McHale Center, whatever. And it's like, no, know your limits.
Nah.
That's what Eduardo's wife just got for being like, I'm pregnant, babe. Aren't you so happy?
Yeah.
Hold on. We got to finish this out. We're up 3 on Houston. Can you wait? Can you wait? All right, we got the W. What were you talking about earlier? You're getting fatter? What's going on? Oh, you're pregnant. Okay.
Shout out to you, Eduardo. That's
awesome,
that's crazy.
man.
Congratulations. What a day. Finding out, you guys are pregnant, you get another kid on the way, and then of course, you get the big time W. Arizona proving that they're a force to be reckoned with in the college basketball world.
Ernesto, now that's a bear down, baby.
True. True. That's a story you'll be able to tell your kid forever of like, you came into this world on top.
Yeah.
As a Wildcat that was, just on top of the world. How could you not love that? Fantastic stuff. And congratulations, Eduardo.
Yeah, Eduardo, that is a big, big deal. Congratulations. And obviously, congratulations on the win today, too, because Arizona 73-66. They get the job done. Damon, do we have any more thoughts on this game today? I know you and I are going to be breaking it down next week on our live shows leading up to Arizona's upcoming game. So, what a win. What a win today, Damon. What a win.
Yeah, what a win. You got Baylor on Wednesday. You should be able to win that game regardless of whether or not Peat, Dwayne, Aristode are going to be available, to which I would guess that they are not. I saw Jason Shearer say something to the effect of, Kevin, that Dwayne Aristode is unlikely to play against Baylor. So we could be without him again with his undisclosed illness, and hope that he gets over the plague soon enough here because it's taking its toll. And it might be taking its toll on the rest of the roster as well. Who knows what that sickness truly is. But, it might be short rotation again. But against a Baylor team that is scraping by ASU, that shouldn't be too big of a deal, Kevin.
Indeed. I do like the players Baylor has. We'll talk about that more this upcoming week. I love Tunde Yesufu. I love Cameron Carr's game as well. But that is a couple days from now. And for today, we celebrate this victory. And we also celebrate the great support we have gotten on today's podcast. We reached a ton of viewers today, a ton of likes in here. I want more likes, though. If you've not liked this video, do your part. Arizona Wildcats did theirs. We're doing ours. Now it's your turn to do yours. Like this video.
It's all connected.
And subscribe. It is.
It's all interweaved.
We're like the trees. They can all kind of communicate through the roots. You know what I mean? We communicate through podcasts. So like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports. We just hit 50K like last week. It's a huge milestone for us here. But now, we're not done. We're chasing 60K, so help us subscribe. Help us by subscribing to reach 60,000 subs. Thank you so much.
Kevin, Carl asks an interesting question as we end this one out here. Has the torch officially been passed? I've been saying that you can't take the mantle out of Big 12 champions until you go and beat the Big 12 champions back-to-back, Kelvin Sampson's Cougars, who have won their only 2 Big 12 championships that they've gotten to be a part of since they joined the conference. Was this a changing of the guard moment?
I mean, this is honestly more a question for you to answer because that's you have been holding the line with that take all year. I've been more wavering with it, but I think that this is not that. I think that that's not it yet. I think you kind of have to make a postseason run here to really feel like the Big 12 runs through Arizona. I think you could easily see a scenario where Arizona, gets into the tournament and maybe Houston makes one round further than them, and then what's the argument? Because Arizona beat them in a regular season format, and they won the Big 12 conference, but what matters most is the ending of the season, and I think what matters most to the fans in terms of the way they remember the year, right? I think it's going to be hard for a lot of the Arizona Wildcat fans to be like, we own the Big 12, except we didn't make it as far as make it as far as Houston or as far as Iowa State. So you have to finish the job this year, and once you're the last Big 12 team standing, it runs through Tucson. Baby. But for right now, I think it still runs through Houston. Today, there's really been there's been a seed of doubt, I think, planted in that take of like, oh, Houston's the king of the Big 12. No one can do that until they unthrone Houston. I think dethroning Houston starts by beating them on their territory, in their country, so to speak, if we're taking it to king and queen land, right? You go into their country, take them over, and now it's yours. But I think that Arizona still has to finish the job today or this season.
Come into your trap and take it over, Kevin.
Come to your trap and take over your trap.
The trap gods.
Yeah.
The Wildcats, the trap gods. But yeah, I listen. I've been saying that take for a while. Now that I'm in this spot where Arizona has taken the mantle, I would feel like yes, that would be a changing of the guard if Arizona didn't kind of blow it against Kansas and or Texas Tech.
Yeah.
But because those games resulted in the way that they did, you still have to finish this season. And for me, like I'll take the regular season Big 12 championship and be like, yeah, that's a changing of the guard moment. But that includes handling business down the stretch. And you got to beat Iowa State at home. You got to beat teams that you're better than in Baylor and in Colorado. And you got to get revenge over Kansas, who's going to be coming to your house as well. So job's not finished yet. But yeah, I think that this was the first step in terms of the changing of the guard here in the Big 12. I know that's a little bit of a difference of what I've been saying, but I do think that choking those games away against specifically the Texas Tech game probably hurts you a little bit here in that context. But one last thing before we get on out of here. No Jacob B. Cards on today's show. I'm sitting here. I thought for sure he would show up. Of course, if you guys have been here watching this show for a while, you are familiar with the troll that is of undisclosed fandom. We're not exactly sure what team Jacob likes. At first, I accused him of being an ASU fan and just being obsessed with Arizona. But it turns out he's not an ASU fan. He's just obsessed with Arizona. So he's been popping in here saying Kelvin Sampson owns Tommy, saying Houston owns Arizona, saying Houston is Arizona's daddy. And then all of a sudden, it's crickets. Where's my guy? He's nowhere to be found. Shocker, Kevin. I thought for sure that the troll would show up and face the music on a day like today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. People are wondering, what would Jacob B. Cards have said if Houston had gotten the W?
Oh, he'd be here.
I guess we'll never know. Because they lost. Because Kelvin Sampson got outcoached by Tommy Lloyd today. Has that happened in the past? No. But it happened today. And that's what matters most, was the W. But yeah, it is funny to not see Jacob B. Cards in here. Honestly, I know he spams and trolls and whatnot. He does tune into like random live shows. So it is really hilarious that he's not here for the one game that he was probably circled.
He's had it circled for months, Kevin.
Literally.
He's been talking about Houston owning Arizona, trying to rain on our parade and spoil the fun of a 23-0 start by being like, it doesn't matter until you beat Houston. Well,
Damien Dog, what do you mean? Damien Dog.
That is the Damien Dog guy, Ernesto, yes.
Also, Jay Bizzo in the chat with a really funny answer to our question of who's taking over the Big 12. Found no GIF when I searched Houston handing torch to Arizona. So it seems like Jay Bizzo does not think that the torch has been passed. Season is not done. So in conclusion, Jay Bizzo agrees that the season is not done. You got to finish the job to have the conference run through Tucson.
Eduardo's saying that the hashtag Totri files are what's going on, and that was actually Jacob B. Cards was Totri this whole time masquerading.
That would mean that Totri has to care about college basketball at some extent.
Investigate Totri.
Which that would be a hell of an act for Totri to act like he cared about Houston college basketball.
I'm going to get right on that. I'm going to investigate Totri. We're going to find out something. We're going to find out something bad, I bet. But I'll be right on that. Of course, if you want to, more on those findings, follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. I'll be investigating hard, Sherlock Holmes style. And then, of course, follow my guy, Kevo Post at KEVOPOSTS. Kevin's just been absolutely crushing the Twitter game recently. So give him a follow. Give us a follow at PHNX_Wildcats on all social media except for TikTok, where we're at AZ Wildcats Pod. Of course, can't wait for the next time that we get to talk about Arizona athletics, Kevin, because what a win. This is the type of win that just juices you up for the rest of the season. This team can truly do some special, special things when it's all said and done this season, and hopefully we're talking about cutting down some nets at the end of the year. I think today was the exact type of result that Arizona fans needed to feel right back onto that like 23-0 type of feeling. You add a little bit of a bump in the road, then you go shorthanded on the road. You beat number 2 Houston at their own game. Unbelievable stuff. Best performance of the year, best coaching performance, I think, of Tommy Lloyd's tenure at Arizona, and another AZ Catch G buzzer-beating super chat. The troll, I lost it. The
troll is here. He's just not chatting. And then Ernesto says, give us the horn, Kev. So here's the air horn. a well-deserved air horn on tonight, a night of a victory for Arizona over Houston. Victory, I feel like we could have lost, and the chat would have still gave us a victory because that's how nice everybody in this chat has been. Shout out to the support that you give this podcast, but more importantly, the support that you give the Arizona Wildcats basketball program that just keeps rolling. Another W tonight. Baylor, you're next.
About to go belt to ass on Baylor like we did in football season. Can't wait for that. We'll be live again on a Tuesday. We're actually off on Monday this next week. So no Monday show. Tuesday, 2 p.m. Wednesday, pregame, postgame. Thursday, 2 p.m. Friday, 2 p.m. And then Saturday, pregame, postgame is the outlook for the rest of the week. Be there for all those shows. We hope to see you on our next show on Tuesday at 2 p.m. But in the meantime, give me and Kevin both a follow. Follow our main account, like I said, at PHNX_Wildcats. And we cannot wait to talk more about this basketball program in the near future. Appreciate everybody for watching this banger edition of the AZ Wildcats post-game show. Unbelievable support. Kevin and I are so grateful to do this every single day, and we love you guys. We couldn't do it without you. So appreciate everybody for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. This team is the best team in the country. I don't give a damn what's going on in that Michigan Schmook game.
We all silly like the mayor.